In recent years, carbohydrates has been vilified a little bit, being held responsible for people's weight gain. It seems to be a bit of a trend, because previously that was fat's role. Now carbs are seen to be made a bit of a scapegoat going forward. Now we're talking about starchy carbs today. So these are things like your breads, your rice, your pastas and so forth. Complex carbohydrates are generally starchy carbs. Now these are built up of sugar molecules and they're all knitted tight together. So what your body does, once it's consumed your starchy carbs, it will break it down into glucose, which from a previous video is a sugar. Now insulin then will kick in and drive that sugar, or glucose I should say, into cells ready as energy. So carbs actually provide your body with quite a high energy source, between about 50 to 80%, which makes it your body's main energy provider. Now along with carbs comes the hormone insulin, which we mentioned in our previous video. Now insulin also has had a bit of a bad rap. Insulin being the hormone that regulates your blood sugars, so a pretty important hormone really. Early evidence suggested that eating carbs would make your body insulin resistant. Now this is true with diabetics or people who suffer with insulin resistance. Now to become insulin resistant, there are a few factors involved, and this can be excess body fat, inactivity, okay, so a sedentary lifestyle, poor sleeping patterns, because that will also affect your body composition, as well as genetics. However, it should be made aware that it's actually quite easy to overeat processed carbohydrates. Now these carbohydrates are generally quite tasty, are seldom very filling despite being quite high in calories. And that then puts us in a situation when we're overeating to satisfy hunger cravings throughout the day. Reducing your carbohydrates can be a strategy adopted in order to try and lose weight. But the overall picture by doing this is naturally you're decreasing the calories in which you're ingesting, thus putting you in a calorie deficit, which is important for losing weight. Now, as long as you don't overindulge your carbohydrates, they're not going to do any harm to your body. So studies have actually proven that there is absolutely no links between obesity and the consumption of carbohydrates. In fact, recent studies have shown that our consumption of carbohydrates is actually on a low and our obesity is carried on a high. Obesity being actually a part of a wider picture, which includes, as we said before, calorie intake against activity and movement, and also generally a poor relationship with food, generally using it as an emotional crutch in times of high stress. So this all boils down to the quality of nutrition you're ingesting. If you're eating a lot of processed foods that aren't filling you up for a long period of time, then you're going to overeat. So it's all about finding a really nice consistent base of nutrition that's going to give you a slow release energy and keep you nice and satisfied throughout your whole day. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to check out our previous video on sugars, and we'd be more than welcome to receive any feedback.